Today, we're going to dive into the profound final year of the great spiritual master Sri Ramakrishna. It was a time of intense suffering, but it's also a story of incredible grace that actually gave birth to a global spiritual movement.
It all really starts with this one powerful question, a question that sits right at the heart of this story. How does a great soul, someone who has truly realized the ultimate truth, face the end of their physical life? Well, for Sri Ramakrishna, the answer came from his own deep realization. And he put it in these simple, just beautiful words. He saw the body as nothing more than a temporary cage. This one idea, this perspective, would define everything about his final days.
So, let's set the stage here. Our story really kicks off in 1885, when the master's health took a very serious turn. It was in 1885 that this sore throat he had, it just wouldn't go away. And it turned out to be terminal cancer. Just a year later, in 1886, he would make what's known as his great departure, his Mahasamadhi. It was such a short, intense period, but it would literally change the course of spiritual history.
What's just so remarkable is how Ramakrishna responded to this diagnosis. He was the living embodiment of this principle of detachment. You know, when his devotees begged him, please pray to the Divine Mother Kali for a cure, he refused. He told them he simply couldn't bring himself to ask for the body to be fixed when his mind was completely 100% devoted to the spirit.
And this quote, this just brilliantly illustrates his perspective. As the illness got worse and it became impossible for him to eat, he'd reassure his followers with this statement. He was telling them, I am not this body. His existence was cosmic, and it was going to continue on through all of them, through all of creation.
So as his condition worsened, a whole new chapter began. And it all took place at this garden house in Kasipur. This place? Well, it wasn't just for his treatment. It was destined to become a real crucible of faith.
For some fresh air and better care, the master was moved to this garden house. And it was right here, right in the midst of all his suffering, that the seeds of the entire Ramakrishna order were sown. This house, it effectively became their very first monastery.
A group of his young disciples, led by this fiery young man named Naren, who the world would soon know as the great Swami Vivekananda, they all gathered around him. And I mean, they gave up everything, their homes, their education, just to serve their beloved master day and night. Their devotion was just absolute.
And as they were serving their master, something really incredible was taking shape. One night, while Ramakrishna was lying in bed, these young men gathered around a sacred fire in a village called Antpur.
And here's a fascinating little detail. It was Christmas Eve. Naren started speaking passionately about the life and sacrifice of Jesus Christ. And inspired by that story of renunciation, right then and there, they all took a formal vow to live as monks. So, on a Christian holy day, the foundation of a great Hindu monastic order was laid. How amazing is that?
Now, this whole period of intense devotion, it was all building towards one of its most significant moments, an event of just pure, uncontainable spiritual grace. The date was New Year's Day, January 1st, 1886. On this day, something truly extraordinary happened, an event that's now celebrated as Kalpataru Day.
So here's how it went down. Feeling a little stronger that day, Ramakrishna took a walk in the garden, and his devotees all gathered around him. He turned to one of them and asked, "So, what have you seen in me?" And the devotee replied that he saw him as an avatar, a divine incarnation. Right in that instant, Ramakrishna raised his hand and gave a blessing that would just ignite their souls, sending this incredible wave of spiritual ecstasy through the entire crowd.
These were his powerful words. And with just a single touch, he granted each person there a profound, personal spiritual experience. Some people started laughing, some were weeping, some saw visions of their chosen deities. It was like a mass transmission of spiritual power, a total downpour of divine grace.
But that cage of the body, well, it was continuing to weaken. We're now arriving at the final solemn moments of his earthly journey.
In the early hours of August 16th, the time finally came for the great soul to depart.
With his final breaths, he just uttered the name of the Divine Mother, Kali, 3 times, centering his whole consciousness on the divine.
The people who were there, they actually witnessed a final thrill pass through his body. His hair stood on end and his eyes focused right on the tip of his nose, which are the signs of a yogi in a deep, conscious union with the Absolute. So, to the doctors, it was death, but to his disciples, no way. This was no end. This was Mahasamadhi, Their master hadn't died. He had simply transitioned from his physical form to his subtle, all-pervading spiritual form, a presence they would feel for the rest of their lives.
And so we kind of end up right back where we started. Sri Ramakrishna's final year shows us a life lived in complete freedom, even as the body was failing. And it leaves us with a question to really think about. If the body is just a cage, what does it mean for each of us to truly be free?
Thank you so much for joining us to explore this profound story. If you found this meaningful, we'd love to share just a little bit about our channel.
Gyan Kosh is a multilingual channel where we get to share spiritual wisdom in English, Hindi, Marathi, Tamil, Gujarati, and Bengali. And we've got more major languages coming really soon. Our goal is to bring you the timeless treasures of Sanatan Dharma in a way that's simple, clear, and meaningful. On our channel, you're going to find daily videos on Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and so much more, plus stories about the lives of great saints, all available in multiple languages.
If you find our content valuable, please do subscribe to Gyan Kosh. That way, you'll get notified about our daily videos. And hey, don't forget to like, share, and spread this divine knowledge with your family, your friends, and your community. Let's work together to keep the light of Sanatan Dharma shining bright.